Last year, the ocean absorbed the equivalent of 7 Hiroshima bombs detonating every second in the ocean. Every second of every day for the entire year, 7 nuclear detonations worth of heat into our oceans per second. Water temperatures in Florida have hit records reaching as high as 101 degrees. That's not the air temperature, that's the ocean temperature. That's actually the recommended temperature for a hot tub. Indeed, that's the midpoint of the jacuzzi company's recommended range for its hot tub temperatures for healthy adults. Now, doctors recommend that children under the age of 5 avoid hot tubs over 95 degrees, and pregnant women are advised to stay out of water once it gets much above 100 degrees. So the ocean off Florida is almost too hot for many humans. Mr. President, this is the 289th time that I have come to the Senate floor with my increasingly battered time-to-wake-up chart to stir this chamber to act on climate change. Since 2016, I have been talking about the zettajoule. The zettajoule is the measure of how much fossil fuel emissions are heating up our oceans. In this season of extreme, record-smashing heat touching all 50 states, it is wild that elected representatives in Washington still choose to insulate themselves from reality, a reality measured in zettajoules. A zettajoule is a number almost beyond comprehension in its size. 1 joule, Joule, is our standard unit of energy, and it applies to heat energy. A zettajoule is 1 joule with 21 zeros behind it. It is a truly massive number. In a 2019 Time to Wake Up speech, I reported that more than 9 zettajoules of heat energy was being added to the ocean annually. Since then, I've come to the floor with an updated number. Our oceans are absorbing around 14 zettajoules of excess heat every year. Let's put that in context. The total energy consumption of all humankind amounts to about 1/2 of a zettajoule of energy per year. That means that for the fossil fuel component of that 1/2 of a zettajoule of energy, we pay the price of 14 added zettajoules of heat into the ocean every year. Said another way, we load into our Earth's oceans every year nearly 30 times the entire energy use of the entire species on the entire planet. That is a big magnification. If this is the zettajoules of excess heat absorbed into the oceans every year, that dot is the average annual energy consumption of the human species on the planet. For the price of the fossil fuel component of that, mankind's entire energy consumption in zettajoules, we suffer that load of heat energy going into the oceans. Almost too hot for humans means definitely too hot for many ocean creatures, particularly ocean corals. Coral reefs matter because they support a quarter of all known marine species. Florida has the largest coral reef ecosystem in the continental United States, the third largest living barrier coral reef in the world. If you don't care about creatures and only care about money, well, Florida's protected waters contribute billions of tourism dollars to the Florida economy. All of that is in jeopardy in this heat. According to NOAA, when temperatures reach 1 degree Celsius, or about 2 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than normal, corals cross what is called their bleaching threshold. That is where they turn white as they evulse the living creatures that keep them alive, and that is a step on the way to death. That is bad news, considering that temperatures around Florida have been running 5 degrees above normal. And the longer this goes on, the more trouble corals will have recovering. This is not just happening in the United States, it is worldwide. This summer, most of the oceans on planet Earth have at least a 70% chance of experiencing what are called marine heat wave conditions. The effects of marine heat waves read like biblical plagues: decreased oxygen, dead zones, fish die-offs. And then come the weather effects: droughts in some places and increasingly deadly and dangerous storms in others, because our oceans drive our weather on this planet. We need to head off climate change at the oil spigot. That means taking on the fossil fuel industry's increasingly desperate lies and its well-funded political juggernaut that does such evil in this building. We know how to solve this problem. We just don't do it because fossil fuel fingers creep through so many corners of the Capitol. In the time it took me to deliver this speech, around 6,000 Hiroshima bombs of excess heat energy were put into our oceans. Every day, it's getting worse. We completely underestimate how bad things are going to get. Completely. Even people who care about climate change and believe that it's real and aren't in tow to the fossil fuel industry and its dark money, they still completely underestimate how bad this is going to get. And the tragedy is, it has always been preventable. Simply by moving to a productive, economically valuable, clean energy future and stopping our indulgence of fossil fuel pollution and obstruction. If what is going on with climate change heat going into our oceans is not enough to wake us up, I do not know what will. It is certainly time to wake up. I yield the floor.